friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Lefebvre and today we are on day 11 of our 12 days of mini holiday landscape paintings. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, we are on day 11 of our tiny mini winter landscapes. I have my Academy watercolor paper taped down with some painter's tape. I have my split primary palette with some indigo. I have some teeny tiny little brushes to use. And I also have my Dr. Peach Martin's bleed proof white ink, which I might use as well. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna attempt to paint a little tiny reindeer silhouette at some point. But first I want to do kind of like this sunshine in the back with this glow and trees and hope for the best. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to start by grabbing a little bit of yellow and a little bit of pink to make this kind of like orangey color. And I'm going to paint, I think, the background. I'm going to leave a white space here for the sun. Actually, you know what? I'm going to lift it after. So I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. We're just going to wing it here. I'm going to do a light wash of yellowy orange. I'm going to grab a tissue. I'm going to grab a small brush, kind of put it in there to make this like little dot at the bottom. And I'm going to press down and lift up a circle for a sun. Didn't work as well as I wanted it to. That's okay. We can always add white too. Okay, but we do kind of see a sun there, right? Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit more yellowish orange and I'm gonna bring it over towards the edges. So it's a bit darker of a glow around the sides here. Now, while this is still wet, I'm going to take some of this yellowy orange and brown, and I'm going to do some trees in the background like this. And I'm doing that while it's still wet so I can get this like out of focus look. So get a brown and just with a little bit of color. You don't want a lot of water, or I'm gonna add a little bit of red to this. It needs to be a bit warmer. You don't want a lot of water or paint on your brush for this. Okay, and I'm just doing these trees like this. They're just lines, basically. Like that. I feel like it needs to be a bit warmer. Don't love how yellow it is. So I'm just gonna do just a couple more where they're a bit more brown, of a warmer brown. Like that. Okay. Then I'm going to just add some water down here, just like a really light, there's a tint of yellow to my water and this is just fine. Like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of that yellowy orange, just a little bit right here down the middle. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of ultramarine and just add a little bit of the blue to the sides. And I'm not really blending it together or anything. I just want little bits of blue. Now I might grab a little bit of my white so it's a bit more opaque. Like that. And I'm just gonna kind of bring it in just a little bit. You don't want a lot of yellow in the middle there. Okay. Try to bring it up a little bit. I'm gonna grab a little bit more of my orangey color and bring it down the middle. I don't want a lot of water or paint on my brush, just a tiny bit. like so. A little bit more blue. But yeah, you really got to be careful not to mix the blue and the yellow. Okay. Then I'm going to let it all completely dry. Okay, now that it's dry, I'm going to take my brown. I'm going to add a little bit of permanent rose to it. Like I said, I wanted it warmer. Like that. And now that our background's dry, I'm going to do some trees in the foreground with this warm brown coming down on the snow here. We're going to start making them darker, but I'm going to start with this lighter color first. And they're kind of starting with just the tree trunks. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to grab some more of that darker, I'm going to add a little bit of indigo to it to make it a darker brown. And I'm going to add the darkness to the right side of those tree trunks. And the left, or whatever the side is away from the sun. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? I hope so. Okay. Then I'm going to take a little bit more permanent rose, I think. Oop. A little bit more green to make it brown. And now I'm going to start doing little branches coming off of these trees. The further away from the sun they are, the darker they're going to be. The ones that are kind of overlapping the sun, the lighter they're going to be, like more light, warm brown. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a bit more yellow, a little bit more pink, make it this warm brown, and I'm just going to do these really delicate branches kind of coming up. And it's kind of creating this arch. But you want this like almost like an orange brown coming up. Because when they're hitting the sun, they turn this really light color. And you can always add more like texture on the tree as well, like little dots, lines, like that. And you're just going to kind of cover this with tiny little branches. Again, further away, you're going to have the darker branches. So back here. And I'm really just trying to do this like vertical hold. So I'm getting these kind of really loose, wonky kind of branches. I want some of those lighter. Actually, let me see if I have a smaller brush. I have this tiny little brush. Let's see how it does. Kind of want it to go right in front of the sun. That. All right. Then we're going to take some of that ultramarine with our little bit of white just to make it a bit more opaque. And I'm going to create little snowbanks, kind of like little shadows. Like that, kind of coming inwards. So it looks like they're kind of on a slope. And only this path right here is what's lit. Okay. Now I might even add a little bit more ultramarine to this side of the tree, the side that's furthest away. Ooh, actually that works really well. I have a little bit of white with it, which makes it more of an opaque ultramarine, which is adding that blue to the opposite side. Gives this beautiful blue shadow on the tree. Okay. I take it just a little bit more and add a little bit more darkness right under these. And then right down here as well. Okay, and then I wanted to do a deer. I said that, didn't I? Okay, so for this, I need to create a dark brown, or not a dark brown, kind of like that light brown. I'm gonna add a little bit of red there. There we go. And tiny brush. So I'm gonna start by drawing kind of like this rectangle shape, like a curved rectangle shape like this. Then we're gonna go up like a little triangle on top, like that. Oh goodness. And then a tiny little circle on top of that. 2 little ears, like that. Okay. I'm gonna make this a little bit more rounded here. Legs, they're gonna kind of come in and they're like this, and then I don't know. They kind of do this like weird zigzag. Like that. Like that. And then we need to do the antlers, be super duper fine with your drawing here. Like that. Like that. Ah, it kind of worked. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more of the dark indigo just to parts of it. I think that worked. It looks more like moose antlers. I think I went a little bit crazy there. Should have done, I think I did too much. I wonder if I can fix it. Do you think I can fix it? Wonder if I can fix it with white. When in doubt, I always use like white as a whiteout almost. There's like a bit too much antler there. Also going to add more white to the sun here. Oops, of course I had too much on my brush. No. Okay, we're good. We're good. I'm gonna grab the indigo, and it's like to the side and up, side and up. You really got to make sure you don't have any drops on your brush. That. Yeah, the points are kind of inside, and I put some of them on the outside, so I'm just going to take some of my white and use this as a whiteout. Like a glow. It works. Okay, and then a little bit more white on the sun here. Like that. And if you want to do any other like detail on the trees, you know, just like a bit more texture or anything, you could always do that. Like you don't want them to be super, what's it called? Smooth. You want them to have that kind of like tree bark texture. So just kind of like little scratchy lines on them. That. And then I am definitely doing snow on this. I feel like it will help make it look a bit more complete. Lots of snow. Maybe even just a little bit of snow on some of the branches and stuff. Why not, right? Oh, and I might need a little bit of, hold on, shadow. There we go. Coming from the bottom of the deer. Like that. I like it. Okay. A little bit of snow collecting on the trees over there. There we go. All right, let's pop it in a frame. And there we go. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something, and I will see you tomorrow for our last day of this series. Have a wonderful evening. Bye guys.